All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I wanted you guys to be here for this potentially incredibly tragic and potentially incredibly historic kind of event. So I've got my quiver. Now I wanted to make a bow that would match it. That would kind of, I hate to put it this way, but it's a pretty epic quiver, really. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it really is pretty darn sick. And I kind of really liked it. So when it came right down to it, I kind of decided that I wanted to, you know what, I'm going to change your position here. I was going to put you guys on the floor so you could see the arrows come in directly, but I think that this will be a little bit better. It'll be good enough here. You guys can see. Zoom you in. Not too crazy though. All right, so we're good to go with that. So what I've got today is I've got my new quiver set. And all I've done is put this through a loop here, and you can do anything ghetto. Look at this. I'm using a bungee cord as a belt, and just in case you don't have a belt. And look at where it comes to. I mean, these are so perfect. I've got some bamboo arrows, and then I've got more standardized target arrows here, guys. But today, we're going to be shooting something different. Now, I mentioned in the previous video that I did have this set up. Now, what I've done is I've stuffed this quite stiffly with the high impact foam that I use, but it's the softer of the two. In fact, I've sewn so many times using this stuff in a variety of projects. Now, I don't know how this is going to shoot, but I really like the weight in it. So, Target, new bow, all steel construction. This is spring steel. And unlike the others that are so light, they really will not shoot these types of arrows properly, guys. They just won't. They're just not strong enough. I do have something of an impression that these ones probably won't have that trouble. But I do have to be careful. And the reason I have to be careful, as you guys can see, is this is very much a new design. And I really don't know what's going to happen here. I do know that this could be potentially really thrown off by the fletching that's here and by this not having a properly shaped shelf. Also, I need to set up the tiller on this. Now, I did quickly, and it does hold right over. In fact, this is sitting in a good spot. I feel like whereas if there were a bare shaft here, this would have come off really well. So I'm going to take a look at what's the best way to have this come off. And my experience tells me it's where the arrow interferes the least. Wherever I can arrange it so it makes absolutely minimal contact, it'll be the best. So let's try this. What I'm seeing is it actually made pretty good strength, but what I'm also seeing is I have an incredibly short brace height. I need to draw this pretty far right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this. Now this is the weaker of the two bows set up for its weakest aspect. Remember I said I could flip it around? Well, that's true, but not with this riser on it, or it would rip apart the riser. I will have to make a special one for doing that. Now in this case, I'm just going to take this knot, push it up as far as it'll go, close it as tight as it'll go, and then make a new one. And that'll be my new position because it actually needed to raise my brace height quite a bit, and this will accomplish that. Now I did have a slightly shorter string over there, but it's for the other bow. So I just want to arrange it in the same aspect, and you see right away what happened. We have a much stronger bow. So we're still dialing it in, and I was correct about the fletching arrangement. That is obviously much better because it came out pretty centered. It didn't come out what I would call on target, guys, but it did come out a good deal more centered than it had been the first time, I would certainly suggest. So we're going to try that again. And I also, of course, have no knot. Also, this is a brand spanking new string, so it's not properly stretched in. But that is certainly feeling a little more powerful there, guys. Now I'm going to start using some of my really new fletchings, the ones that are designed to skip off over the rise this is it breaking on me. The riser won't break, it's actually solid. And the way that this bows, they're actually bowing out this way where they have the most room. It's really solid. And because this is stuffed with foam, it's not going anywhere. I mean, this bow, this is quite nice. And as you can see, unlike before, we're not having any problem flinging these arrows. And you know what that means, honey? This was a 36-pound bow, guys, at 28 inches. Sorry, at 29, which means I was only ever firing it right around 33. Anybody want to make a hazard a guess as to how powerful this one's going to be? Now, the problem is this Accuro's a little less accurate because it has wider fletchings, and it's sitting right directly up against the riser, you guys. Which means that fletching is almost bound to get ripped off, but I have it set up correctly, and it should be alright. What I really need to do is just make sure I'm shooting the Apache style here, truly. And really what this is, which is so awesome, I absolutely love this bow, guys. What this really is an Apache style bow made out of all modern materials. And what's great about that is it actually seems pretty darn good. I'm going to actually try and shoot for as precise a group for that middle as I possibly can. And I'm going to shoot it. And then I'm going to set up the other bow and pause for you guys and come right back. And we're going to shoot that again. And you'll see, I mean, they end up pretty strong, these things. They're pretty sweet. And this is the weaker of the two bows, set up in the weaker of its aspect. And it can be bowed both ways. But this is the way I intended it to be bowed. It should be right around 45 pounds at full draw. At max draw, like really max draw, it should be right around 50 pounds. Now the trick with this spring steel is, max draw ain't what you think. Max draw is pretty much what you got the strength to pull it to. And if I want, I can make a nice tight group with these. And I'm pulling some power here, like putting some feet per second up, compared to what I was with the other bow, firing these heavier, much heavier arrows. And take a look at the accuracy. I mean, they're not exactly what you would call inconsistent. And if I start shooting at you with this bow, you might want to not be there. Because they're pretty darn accurate. And it's feeling like I could just fire accurate shots with this all day long. But it's not perfect yet. And the reason is this is moving slightly as I shoot it, right? But that is because I'm test firing it right now, and it is not locked in. But as you can see, these are very, very much a successful design so far. And now I have a second one to put together, but I could just stop and be like, yep, we're good, it works well, I like it, we're done. But I don't want to do that. In fact, now I'm going to fire some of these smaller arrows because I got a feeling that they are going to fire for the dickens on this thing. And I really like this bow. This is now kind of my favorite bow. But I'm also going to start experimenting with the handle length. In fact, right now I'm just going to do a standard kind of thing where I take a measurement from the shelf height to the end and make sure that the distance there is about equal. That's traditional. From the shelf height itself, I want the distance to be equal, which means when you look at it, the handle will be farther down the body, really. And only the top of the handle, wow, that felt different when I let that go. Holy crap, that felt really different. That felt like that had way too much power in it. But it also felt like it dropped off way low and I wasn't paying attention to my top right there. That's a little bit better, right? But you can see, I mean, this will fire these pretty accurately, pretty consistently from the look at it. Now this one has a flat broadhead that's designed not really to penetrate, so I don't usually use it. But you can see, I mean, it's firing these arrows in with really good speed, and even on a really light draw. But that's what I'm going to do with this one. Instead of giving it a normal draw, I'm going to give it an incredibly light draw, because this is a much heavier poundage bow than really it was before. And I'm also the way that it's going to fly through the air. So what I'm seeing here is my handle might be too low, and I'm feeling like I should put it closer to the middle, like a uni bow would be like this. What you got to do is just place it and try and very precisely, like there, feel where it bows really evenly, and then adjust so that the height of this is exactly at the point where it bows evenly. When you think you have it, then go test it. So now that's what I'm doing. I feel like I've got that locked in. It feels correct. It feels like it's going right. Hey, look at that. Not so bad. Not so bad. But I did notice when I fired it, a little bit of the guts came out at the top, which means it probably moved down a little. But in the end, it certainly doesn't have any trouble firing these guys. These are all accurate arrows when they're done, and they're all certainly capable of being shot from this bow. Now what I'm seeing is that this is a really good sign, and that I'm really close to the proper angle where this should be fired at, because really these don't shoot all that well. These do, and it kind of threw them around a little bit. 2 and 2. Well, I know what that means. I mean, for one, these aren't locked together yet. There's a lot that has to be done here, but this is actually under half decent tension. I could even tension it more and lock it in down here. And I mean, the thing about this is it has lots of room for me to draw it out. So I could be here right now and have a full 28-inch draw, and it's not even at its real maximum. So what's neat about this is right now, it's only looking at a 7-inch brace height. We could do this again and go to an 8-inch or an 8.5-inch brace height, which would make this bow noticeably stronger. And right now, it's a decent poundage, but it's just shy of the poundage those arrows really like until I get to a higher draw. Well, one of the ways to fix that, and especially with a spring steel bow like this, where it's really strong, it's not like these other flimsy limbs for this fiberglass rod bows. No, fiberglass is great, guys, but it's not the best bow material that you can get. Let's put it that way. It's far from the best bow material you can get. So let's put this together with a nice, tight, badass kind of brace height, which is pretty much what we should be looking at here. Put our knot over. Take a look, and already I can feel this is way stronger. So I'm just going to pop these 3. I'm not going to shoot these little guys from this bow anymore. You know why? Because they weren't made for it, guys. They're actually built for that bow, for the light bow. Don't forget, these are for our light bow project. Never the tweens shall meet again. So away they go. We're going to go shoot some heavier arrows out of heavier bows. But now that brace height will change where my ideal location is for my handle slightly, but not by much, so that's good. We're going to just kind of shoot, aim for the middle, same as usual, guys, see if I can make a half decent group here. But I got a feeling this is going to be badass. This is way stronger now. Way stronger. And we're looking right at that. Let me just do a quick measure. Oh, that's beauty. It actually came out right just a tiny touch over 8 inches for brace height, which is actually nice. Now, I do find my shins are kind of letting loose and the handle twisted a little bit there, but I didn't see it affect the arrow, which is strange. It actually seemed like the arrow came off perfect, and then it moved in my hand, which is a really good sign. One of the benefits of a bow like this is when everything's locked in, it's way more stable because it's metal. And once I get the fletchings dialed in and the shape of the shelf dialed in and all my T's crossed and my I's dotted, so to speak, it'll make it so that the whole thing is kind of just badass. Really. It's getting there. I mean, it's already kind of at that point where, yeah, like, it feels kind of badass when you're shooting. And on a really mild draw, too, and you do not need to put a hard draw on this bow to get a really strong shot off. And if I pull a decent just took an aim for this arrow, guys, and pulled a decent shot, and you can see I literally put them together touching. So I'm guessing I got my handle location right. This is one of the reasons why I actually like to reshoot them and just keep shooting them, making fine little adjustments, moving things, adjust the brace height, dial it in. And this is the process that any good archer is going to have to take if they want anything remotely resembling good accuracy with the bow you're building from scratch. It's kind of a no-brainer that you're going to need that. And I mean, it's not an inaccurate bow. In fact, I pulled that shot very light because even on this, it's not really crazy pounding. Don't forget, this is the lighter of the two bows. I just dialed in to see how much poundage I can really get out of it. And honestly, I don't want to bury my arrows into each other. What I will say is that felt darn good. I mean, the way this thing feels when you shoot it, it's actually got quite good power. And what it makes you feel like is it's a 50-pound bow, easily, at the back end. Now, I hadn't originally planned on having this shallow a brace height. I thought maybe, but I didn't think this high a brace height. I didn't think I'd be going over 8 inches with it. But it likes. And as long as it likey, I likey. And it's kind of like that. If the bows can handle it and they're happy like that, I will happily shoot them at the higher poundage all damn day long. Just because they're into it. Now my thing is I've noticed these arrows really like it when you're approaching 50 pounds. They start to get sexy about it. They like to be fired at that kind of poundage, guys. And because they do, I know from experience that this bow is right around that at a fairly reasonably short draw. I mean, that's a 27-inch draw. And they're firing like they're being fired out of a 45 or 50-pound bow, which is really good. And the feel of them is about equal to that, is about a 45 or 50-pound bow. So I'm going to fire all 4 of these, and what I feel is exactly the same draw length, and just kind of get a feel for whether I've got this right and how accurate it is and all that. And try and get a feel for what it is at a given draw length. Wow, you know what? Not only did it aim and hit perfectly where I aimed, but the poundage right now feels so good like this. Like I'm 100%, oh shit, I just moved the handle significantly too. And it's like, this is the problem, guys. Until you get it set up, it's so easy to move that stuff. And then once you move it, you screwed yourself. Because you moved it, dumbass, and it was perfect. And so the trick is to experiment, find the best position, and don't just do it once, believe it or not. Sometimes you'll think you're close to perfect and you're way off. And when you really get it perfect, you realize how far off you were in the first place, and suddenly you realize how close you could be. And then you're like, okay, it's perfect now. I'm not ready. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those things. So again, feeling where the middle feels like it ought to be, which is what I did last time. Suddenly it's much more accurate, guys. And it's able to put shots in on target. So now we're going to launch the other 2 in that area and see if we can make a group out of that. And the more accurate it is, the better, right? So now the trick is to fine tune and find the perfect place. Then, when I've actually found the perfect location, you got to make sure your knock height is right. So every shot, you got to be very, very careful. Also, I have to feel the way that the bow itself is bowing in my hands. And in that case, from experience, I knew that I had my bow a little too low there. This feels good. And sure enough, when it feels good in my hand and it's bowing well in my hand, the arrow came in right in. It got deflected off this arrow here. But that's good. I mean, that's fine for now. So what I've established here is that A, this shoots well. B, it's not doing any damage to the riser no matter how hard I pull in my motion. That's good. C, it's capable of firing 50-pound, 45-pound shots without any trouble. And it's not done yet. I could go higher, but there's no need. It's going to stretch in, which is good. At this poundage, it'll stretch in fairly quick. I really like this. This is actually looking absolutely viable. I still have to shape my shelf, and you can see this is pretty easy to move here. It's not locked in. And that's just because I just wanted to test shoot it. And my goal wasn't to lock it in permanently, but just barely enough to hold it in place just long enough to start to see what its characteristics were going to be like and whether it was going to be a viable bow. And what I'm seeing from here is that not only will it be viable, but it might just be my new favorite bow. And the reason it is it has a really nice look to it. I love the black and blue. We stuck to that. It's got the black and white string. It comes out really nice. It's not finished. I haven't found the exact perfect place that I'm going to be shooting from yet. I haven't dialed in the shelf yet. It's still at danger of ripping off fletchings and such. But even still, I'm able to make a reasonable group with it. And what I was trying to see here isn't how tight a group I can make. We're not there yet. This is just a mock-up prototype and seeing how it shoots. And what I'm seeing is, I'm looking at really solid poundages. I mean, those same arrows fired from the other bow just don't, it just doesn't have the hoop spot. You know, you draw that to your ear, which I just did just for comparison, and then draw this one, and you can feel you're holding more pressure. But to be honest, I don't think it's 50 pounds. I didn't suspect it would be to start with. It might feel like it's getting in that neighborhood, and I'm sure at the very back of it, it would be. But at the actual draw length that I'm using, I suspect 45 is the max I'm going to draw on these arrows. Maybe 48. But that's actually pretty ideal for the arrows that I'm shooting, for the longevity of these arrows. I don't want to be abusing them or firing them at a higher poundage than they really can handle. Now, it's one thing to say it's, you know, I hit them with more power than they really need to get to the target. That's one thing. But what this is I'm hitting them with not just enough power to get to the target, but enough power to get through it. 45 pounds, 50 pounds, that starts to get into the range where you could really do something useful with it. It's spring steel, which means you will break the string. You might have to re-glue or relocate the riser or replace the riser. But in the end, the riser will not break apart just because you shot this one, no matter how hard you pull it. Also, you're not going to break the string. It's not under that much tension. You're not going to break these limbs. They're very, very tough, guys, and can bow over a lot farther. Now, once it gets weaker in this direction from being bowed for a really long time, which it will, however, you might worry about that. But the way that I've reinforced the bends and the way the bends reinforce each other and then are forced to compress together reinforces the whole thing and makes it really strong, which is one of the reasons I'm getting really good arrow speeds. Like, I haven't given it a full shot yet because it's not locked in. All I'm going to do is dial it in up until it's perfect. So what I want to do is show you real quick what I was talking about here from back there. And all I'm going to do is take a measurement right from the very tip top of my shelf height to there. Now I'm going to match that on the other side. You see this? This indicates my handle is actually too high up. And it should be probably right about here. So now we're going to check that. And I'm going to flip it and just check that measurement again. And you can see there's still a little discrepancy here. So I moved it too much. We're going to go just fractionally that way and make a measurement. And you can see that made a big difference to our measurement, technically. But now our measurement's looking pretty much bang on equal. So now we're going to take one of these arrows and we're going to shoot that to see if this is the right position. But the second I get it into the right position, I'm going to stop shooting it, recheck it to make sure that it hasn't moved, and then glue it in place after structurally reinforcing it with more foam to make sure that it's going to be awesome. Oh, that was nice. So I was right. This is now bang on target. I was just a little off to the left of dead center on my aim, and that's exactly pinpoint perfect where it hit. So this is why I tell you to do this. You want to measure right from here, right from where you're not, is on either end string to the top of the riser. Nowhere else, not to the middle of the boat, to the top of the riser. And this is the top of my riser. So the distance from here to here and here to here is equal, and I just hold it down low. It keeps that bottom limb a little stiffer, which is what it's supposed to be. I told people that a whole bunch of times. Nobody ever believes me, but guys, there's proof. This is how that needs to work, or you're not going to get as good accuracy. That's just how it is. So now I've got what basically is a 45-pound bow at the draw lengths I'm going to be shooting it at, which you could shoot at for 1,000 times and not hurt it, versus the other bow, which is 36 pounds at like 28 and a half, which is fine, but I'm not drawing it to that. I'm usually drawing it to 26 or 27 because I'm shooting indoors. And at that power, at that level of draw, it really just doesn't have the power. It's only shooting around 28, 30 pounds. This one, early on in its draw, is shooting really nice. And the more you pull, the harder it gets. And by the time you're here, I guarantee you I'm getting close to a 50-pound bow. And on a full draw with these, I know I'm hitting 50 pounds, which is actually really nice because I didn't think it'd quite get this strong. But I hadn't planned on running it at this high a brace height originally. Again, we're looking right at an 8-inch brace height, literally perfect 8-inch. Well, that's good, but this hasn't stretched in yet. When it stretches in, guys, this will come down a little bit. This will end up right at around a 7-inch brace height has been my experience. And we're perfect at 8 inches because for me, from here to here is exactly 8 inches. And I measured from exactly that point. And you're supposed to measure halfway through the body here, depth-wise, which is right in between these two slats, which is where I measured from. And because it's a very precise point, and I can see the distinction between the two slats, it was an easy measurement to make, kind of a thing. So, now that this is finished, I am very, very excited about my new bow. I know that it's going to be one of, if not my favorite ones when it's done. And the reason is it's more reliable. Also, I only did these nuts hand tight. Now that I know I like it and I'm ready, I'm going to lock those in tight as they can go, which will tension this more. Don't forget, these are opposite locked. That'll pre-tension those. This whole system is meant to be pre-tensioned. So adding that little bit of tension will make this bow a little stronger. It's a 50-pound bow, 100%, guys. Which kind of blows my mind because when I first conceived it, I was going to do it at a 6-inch brace height, which it'll absolutely handle and like. And you could have a 35 to say 40-pound bow, or a 30 to 40-pound bow is what it would really be. And that's the problem. When I actually put it together, it was about 5 pounds lighter on the light side than I wanted on a short draw. I wanted it to be at least 35 and then run to like 45. And my dream was to have 40 to 50 on one bow and then 50 to 60 on the other bow. Well, this one just nailed my first dream right on the head, 40 to 50. That's right where it's at. And I know that when I fire these, I can see that it's higher than the 36 pounds. That was a full draw. Even on a light draw, these are firing really nice off of this. And that's really quite sweet. Also, as you can see, you tell me these don't make a nicer match set, right? And you look at that from my perspective. They look gorgeous, mate, and they're really pretty. And I don't know if you guys can see that really well, but they are a nicely matched set. And so in the end, I'm quite content with this. Now, it doesn't look like much from this side, but that's okay. In fact, I actually did that backwards. I was going to do it the other way around. And then I realized, in the end, this isn't somebody else's hobby. This isn't for them. And I'm shooting off of here, which means from your side, you see this little blue, and this will be covered by my hand. And I kind of like this. This is nice. It's subtle, unlike this, but they go well together nonetheless. And when I'm looking at it from my perspective, they're quite nice. Now, because this is just the mock-up, that didn't matter. When I actually put the bow together, I'm going to flip it around. And so when you read it, it'll say Catalyst, reading top to bottom. So it'll be flipped around and mirrored, basically. So from my perspective, I'll see this, and it'll be like my target window. I see the lines on either side. My sight will be in the middle here, it'll be a really nice bow for me to use. So that's the plan. So this isn't done. This was just, I put a string on it. I set the string to its length. I figure out the exact location that this needs to be for best accuracy. Then I dial everything in. Then I fine tune the edge of the shelf and make sure that it will be suitable and not rip off my fletchings and lock everything in place. One of the ways I want to do that is to put a screw through at either end and lock it so it absolutely cannot move. And that way it'll lock everything in really solid. I may do it another way because I have to, but this is hard stuff to drill through. And I want to use a really thin drill and maybe just put a pin in that sticks through, like a penny nail kind of deal, and drill a hole, put a little penny nail, cut the other end off and epoxy it in place. And that'll put some pins in place to hold it like a samurai sword. I really like this. And honestly, I've made a lot of bows, guys, and they don't all impress me. They really don't. A lot of them don't impress me at all. But this one absolutely does. In the dark, it'll blend in and just disappear to an animal. They won't see that. And the black arrows, they help with that impression of it all being blacked out. I mean, you know. Some of them have white fletches, but they're small, and they're usually ones, like in this case, where that fletch is kind of in a position where it's awkward for them to see. And really, it's kind of nice because this is a beautiful little setup. It's got the white and black fletchings, the white and black string, the blue and black riser with the blue and black quiver with the white and chrome trim. I mean, it kind of brings it all together, right? And you might think because it's so nice looking that I did it for looks, but I didn't. I actually did this partly for grip, for looks, for all of it. Really, it's the same with any product. You want something that's going to be as good as it can possibly be, and that was my goal. So, on that note, knowing that I have a 50-pound bow here, and I guarantee you it's right at 45 at the draw length. I'm actually shooting those at, which is right at 28. I'll bet money, and I did try. I can pull it to 29 comfortably, but you feel it's hot. I know that 50-pound feel, and it's right at 50 pounds, right at 29, which is the max draw for those big arrows. But what did I say at the beginning? I wanted a bow for those bigger arrows. I have a bunch of them. The bow that I used to shoot them with, that I made specifically for them, broke. I wanted a stronger bow that would last longer, that would fire at the strength that I want without destroying itself or the riser. And that was really important to me. And now that I have it, I gotta tell you, I love it. It's comfortable in the hand. It's light. And I've had heavier bows, but not very often. I've never had a bow this short that had this much weight. And normally a short bow, I don't like the weight of, but this one just kind of comes to hand really nice, and it just has that comfortable weight and feel to it. It makes me excited that I own that and that I just built that because it looks good, it's powerful, it'll do the 50-pound thing and be really good at it, which kind of blows my mind because if this one will do 50 pounds, and it's easily able to do 50 pounds, well, what does that say? I mean, what's this one going to be like? And don't forget, the riser strength no longer matters because we're not putting any pressure on it significantly. Now this one, if this one in its weaker aspect came out at 50, and I do this one, which is stronger, at the same brace height, it should come out around 55 to 60. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to come out with two versions of a 50-pound bow and see which one gets me better arrow speed. This one's under more pre-tension, which means it'll also have a shallower brace height. They're about the same length when bowed. So I am going to set this one up. In the next video, I will be shooting this one, but I got to go, guys. This one's gotten really long. But as you can see, wonderful little bow, shoots absolutely epic. Very accurate once you get your height correct. Now I need to check that really more finely and make sure it's perfectly, exactly, precisely in the middle. Then mark those locations on the shaft so that I can dismantle it all, drill those out, stretch out the string the rest of the way first. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to leave it like this. Every couple of days I'll shoot it because at this point there is no harm. Unlike the other one, where I would have destroyed it if I'd have shot it before it was finished. This one is under a much less tension. Hell no, it's under twice the tension almost. Not quite, but it's under a noticeable amount more tension, like 15 pounds more. And because it is, I like it a lot better, but it also isn't damaging the riser. It's not shattering that. And this is what I like. I started looking at it from this angle when I'm shooting. I love it. I love this thing. This is gorgeous. I don't care what other people see. I'm sticking it like this. Bam, right. Anyway, so that led me to the next part. It's all how you want it to be, right? And you can choose your colors with hockey sticks. You can choose patterns, and so many good, cool patterns out there. You can make some really nice stuff. So I do have a bunch of other risers, and I may actually choose to use another one like this and make another one, but I have other options, and I want to take a look through and see what I've got, and I'll pick my favorite one, because these are clearly going to be my favorite bows. This one being basically at the draw length I'm drawing it to, anywhere between 40 and 50 pounds, running between, say, 25 and 29 inches, which is brilliant. This one should be about 5 to 8 pounds heavier in every guard, maybe 10. And that is guaranteed. It's already the stronger bow. It's just a matter of how far I choose to take that. But because it's stronger, unlike this one where you get the longer brace height, they started as the exact same length rods as well, guys. I will point that out. The rods are made of the identical steel, identically coated, powder coated. Absolutely everything about them is identical. They were even from the same set in the same product. So, this is going to be great. Next video, we'll build this one. We'll also shoot it and test it. I'm not at the point where I like to empirically test these for poundage right now because of the handle not being lined up, or I would, just to show you guys roughly where it sits. I also want to let this stretch in more before I put heavy weight on it. I don't want to stretch it out artificially. I want to let it stretch in nice and slowly over time, guys. Always the best way for those. So I'm going to cut out. I'm going to start getting to work. I'm going to line up this one and lay it up with the foam and insert all that and stuff it really good and deep in there and make sure that it's tough to get it out. Not so much. I mean, no matter how deep I stuff it, there's enough room here. It'll come out when I put in a tool and press it out the other side. Easy peasy. It's like so easy to work on. But once I fill the ends with epoxy and drill out and lock in with a pin, it'll be tough. It'll be staying there forever. And that's what I like about it. I can back out the pin if I want. I can even thread these because it's metal. And the other part of that is you can see here they don't really want to bow perfectly evenly. But once you lock them in, they're pre-tensioned that way on purpose so that the bottom limb is stronger than the top limb, just a little. And it helps to make it even. So I've considered a lot of things in this design. Don't alter it if you're going to build one. I've showed you guys pretty carefully what the design is like of the other ones. So I'm showing you this one real quick. Offset bends are the key, guys. You can see them here all the way through. Its offset bends. And offset bends make it really, really strong, man, once you force them together. Also, again, it's designed like the other one to be pre-tensioned in the way that this is bowed. You can see these are forced apart. As I progressively force these together, it forces these apart because of the way this is bowed, making this whole thing stronger and stronger and stronger. Then I'll lock these in next and drill those out and put my next piece in, bracing it and strengthening it further and increasing the poundage and making it snap back faster into its stated position. All of those things in this bow, the way this one is made, I'm actually just going to put this on as a tester first and set it up and test it just the way I did this one. I'll give it a decent brace height. It's already got the shorter string. I actually picked the longer string for this one and then dialed it in for this bow. This one, because it's more powerful to start with, but I want a lower brace height, I started with a slightly shorter string, yeah, but I'm not going to shorten it. It just should be just about right the way it sits. I already had that one dialed in for this bow, and I'm not significantly changing it. This one I ran at really high brace height. This one's just strong enough when you start to draw it, right around 40 pounds, it goes to 50 more quickly than this one. This one does it at the back of its draw. This one will do it at like 28 or 27 and a half or 27. And that'll be great because even on a light shot, you'll be doing 50 pounds. I don't want to push too much higher than that. the ratings on these arrows are 50 to 60. So I found they work best right in that range. They shoot well off of 45. But this little guy, it just ain't up to the job. It will not produce a 45-pound shot. Keith out.